He had an extraordinary class, 1 day a week, and 6 hours of lectures. The course lasted for 7 months. Learners are of different ages, male and female, from under 10 to over 60 years old. Children are school age, and adults have different jobs. Most of them were people with diseases that current medicine cannot cure, such as depression, schizophrenia, hallucinations, cancer, and many other diseases. The teacher's students come from all over the country. Some have to take a plane the day before, some drive at night, and some rent a house near the classroom to get to class on time. Some people are seriously ill and have to have family members take them to class and study with them. All of them, whether far away or near the classroom, are nervous and wait until the weekend to go to class. Because when they immerse themselves in the classroom atmosphere and the teacher's lectures, all suffering, all afflictions, and the pain of illness are dissipated. They can live in the warm lessons from the teacher. They feel close to the images and teachings and silently guide people to practice in the human world of the first Tuelin through his teachings. Students consider the classroom as their second home. Therefore, they always come to class early before the teacher arrives. They want to have more time to chat with classmates and the teacher. These can be exciting experiences or magical experiences that they apply the knowledge of two truths to solve during their learning process. Those may be the difficulties they have been facing, and they need encouragement and solutions from classmates or the teacher. There is one thing that students cannot imagine. Their teacher is just like them. He considers the classroom his second home. He wished each week would pass quickly so he could meet them again. He meticulously recorded information about the patient's illness and recovery process and continuously asked about them every week. Later, when the class ended, the brilliant result was that patients were cured just by receiving factual information from his lectures. He has announced the results. Some people with late-stage metastatic cancer have recovered because they followed his instructions and did not use drugs or hospital treatment. People with mental illnesses have entirely recovered. However, he was sad because some of his students did not follow his instructions. They still doubted his knowledge and continued to treat their illnesses according to the hospital's prescriptions, so they did not recover. 2 cancer patients died the following year because they gave up studying and continued treatment at the hospital. Some severe mental health patients have not recovered because they still take medicine under the pressure of their family members. He declared these patients failures and gave reasons on the last day of class. The rest is a successful outcome for all patients with faith, perseverance, and relatives to accompany them in the learning process, even though many have severe mental illnesses. I was so engrossed and distracted by the memory of the last lesson of that class that I forgot what I wanted to say about him. He has had many courses lasting for many months over the years. Therefore, I join memories together and lectures so that readers can easily understand the value of knowledge of the two truths and the achievements that knowledge brings to everyone. Learning not only helps people understand the truth, but also helps people have the most miraculous method to liberate suffering, especially by creating a new and highly miraculous healing method. It is a method of transmitting information about the truth of all things in the universe to heal diseases of the soul and the body. I want to say that he also comes to class very early and comes home late because he wants to spend time chatting and solving learners' problems. It isn't easy to describe his feelings about his students. I noticed that he constantly strives to find new ways to transform the knowledge of the two truths so that they are the most powerful, most effective, and easiest to understand for learners and patients to overcome suffering and illness. He even left his homeland and went to other countries to explore and find inspiration for transforming knowledge and spreading it to humanity. A week passed very quickly after he finished his lecture on the wisdom of ignorance and enlightenment. As usual, he arrived at a class very early, but the students arrived earlier than him. It could be seen that the joy and anticipation were mixed, making the classroom atmosphere more magical than ever. When he lectured, that same deep voice was used when he asked everyone about their reactions the week after completing the intellectual lesson. the sharing from the students, and his explanations and encouragement have helped everyone increasingly understand the knowledge of the two noble truths.
When we have understood the wisdom of ignorance and the wisdom of enlightenment of Tuolins and humans, that is the fact that we have achieved the goal that each person has pursued and sought for countless lifetimes of practice in this human world. It is a great achievement when each Tuolin has had to go through countless interaction scenarios in the human body suffering. Think about your soul and say, "Hey, Tuolin, I congratulate you on your great achievement in knowing the truth about yourself, people, other Tuolins, all things. Be cheerful, be energetic. You can rest assured that your body and brain's intellect will always accompany you and help you transform the yin and yang embryos." Say it more than once. It is your encouragement to your soul after many lifetimes of being lost and forgetting my memories. The truth information from the previous lectures is the root cause of all the suffering and illness that you have been experiencing. When we understand the nature of everything, we will easily recognize and understand all reactions and expressions of ourselves, others, all things, and phenomena in life and the universe. Today, I will analyze for you to understand the state of the soul. That is the state of the Tuolin within us. First, we need to learn about the state of ignorance. The Tuolin, when residing in the human body, is called the mind or the soul. The state of the ignorant mind is a negative energy state generated from the wisdom wave code system in the yin and yang root embryo and the entire Tuolin structure. The negative energy state is the energy state of the negative energy particle system that vibrates out of control. That leads to the negative energy particle system that governs and controls the entire energy structure in the Tuolin. The origin of the state of ignorance is the fact that people possess the wisdom of ignorance. People have the wisdom of ignorance because the Tuolin inside also contains the intellect of ignorance. The intelligence of ignorance is the root and the solid foundation to create and develop the state of ignorance of the mind. Therefore, the state of ignorance of the mind always breaks out from a mild level to a super strong level. The state of ignorance of the mind includes 3 levels: the state of clinging mind, the state of furious mind, and the state of hatred. These states are also states where toxins in the mind are released. 1. The state of clinging mind. The clinging mind is the solid foundation, the deep root of ignorance. From a clinging soul, people quickly become angry or hateful. The clinging mind is the product and crystallization of ignorant wisdom. Therefore, when talking about the clinging soul, we are talking about 5 pairs of categories of ignorant intellect. It includes the mind that clings to possession, non-possession, love, hatred, and resentment, wisdom, not having intelligence, success in wishing, failure in wishing, action, and inaction. Therefore, when the mind clings, it creates oppression and binding of body, mind, and intellect to the 10 forms of ignorant wisdom. The mind clings to possession because the soul is ignorant and does not understand the truth of 3 things. It does not understand itself and others. It is not understanding all things, events, and phenomena in the universe, and not understanding the energy of destruction. Furthermore, humans do not know the 2 illuminating truths. Therefore, it causes the soul within to be attached and bound to the forms that its body possesses. It becomes selfish and does not want to share or help anyone with what it owns. It immerses and enjoys those things. It will become furious or have hatred for someone if they damage or take away what it has. The mind clings to non-possession because the intellect is ignorant of the 3 things and is not enlightened by the knowledge of the 2 truths. It causes the soul within to be bound to something it does not possess while others possess it. That makes it desirable to get them. It controls its body and does everything it can to have what it wants, even if it causes harm to everyone and everything. It will become furious and hateful of anyone who hinders or makes it unsatisfied. The mind clings to love. Because there is no wisdom of knowledge of the 2 truths, and because of the wisdom of ignorance in not understanding the 3 things. Therefore, the soul inside humans is bound and clings to love. It is willing to do anything to harm everyone or the person it loves to satisfy its love in ignorance. It controls its body and clings tightly to the people and things it loves without understanding the truth to practice, forcing out toxins within itself and activating goodness to help people and those it loves. Next, it quickly becomes angry or hateful if someone hurts its love. The mind clings to hatred and resentment. Because the soul is ignorant and not enlightened by the two truths, it is bound and attached to the things and other people it hates and resents, even those who hate or resent it. It controls the body and acts to cause harm to those it hates and resents, or those who hate and resent it. It quickly becomes angry and hateful when people feed into its hate and resentment. The mind clings to having wisdom. Wisdom is ignorant and does not believe in knowledge of the two truths. That leads the soul within to become arrogant to the wisdom it possesses. It is arrogant and looks down on those it believes are inferior in intelligence and understanding. It controls its body to act to hurt others. It does not help or save others or all things with its knowledge and understanding in its field. It becomes angry or hateful towards others when they insult or belittle its intelligence. The mind clings to the lack of wisdom. Not being able to encounter the knowledge of the two truths, one cannot understand the truth information of the three things. Therefore, it makes the soul inside become attached, bound to the intellectual or educational loss that it currently has. It doesn't have enough awareness or power to help anyone or even help or protect itself. Therefore, it also quickly becomes angry or hateful if people despise or insult it. The mind clings to the success in wishing. Humans are immersed in attachment and bondage to the forms they have obtained by praying to others or without their ability to create. That results from intellectual ignorance and not being illuminated by the light of knowledge of the two truths or not believing. It becomes arrogant, clingy, and attached to what it obtains through desire. That causes it not to carry out its mission in human life. In addition, it easily becomes angry or hateful towards those who harm it. The mind clings to the failure in wishing. It quickly becomes angry and hateful at people, Buddha, God, or their national gods when they do not help it satisfy their desires. It's painful and disappointing because it doesn't get what it wants. It is bound and clings to what it desires but cannot reach. Also, it gives rise to hatred towards people and the metaphysical world for not helping it. The mind clings to actions. When the human soul clings and is bound to forms such as possession, non-possession, love, hate, and resentment, having wisdom, not having wisdom, success in wishing, and failure in wishing, that person inevitably continues to be bound and attached to actions. It acts to protect what it owns, activities to get what it desires, and arrogant actions because it thinks it has wisdom or doesn't. These things cause it to practice actions that hurt people, animals, and everything. The reason is that they need to gain the wisdom of knowledge of the two truths and understand the truth information of the three things that every human being must search for in human life. The mind clings to inaction. There is no knowledge of the two truths and no understanding of the truth of all three things. Therefore, other forms of ignorance immerse people in attachment and bondage. From there, the soul causes the body not to perform actions to help or save others. Instead, it sinks into the 10 states of ignorance it possesses. It quickly becomes angry and hateful towards those who hurt it. 2. The state of furious mind. An angry mind is a state of losing control of the negative particle system in the entire energy structure of the Tulin. Anger is a higher level of clinging mind. Anger is formed and developed on the foundation and roots of the clinging soul. Therefore, when people have attachment, anger will flare up at any time. This makes it impossible for each person and others to know or predict it. When people are immersed in the clinging mind, someone affects their ignorance and interests, and anger within them is like a deadly fire that will harm and kill all living things, animals and humans, and destroy all items. Anger is also compared to firestorms, and it will burn everything in its path. To eliminate anger, people must destroy the root and foundation of the clinging mind. To do that, they must destroy the wisdom of ignorance. 3. The state of hatred. Hatred is the highest level of ignorance. Hatred is considered like icebergs. People cannot perceive someone's hatred because it is hidden and hidden deep within the soul. It is different from anger because anger is like flames or firestorms, so people can easily see anger in themselves and others. Hatred is born based on the clinging mind. When people are immersed in clinging souls, they feel hurt. As a result, they try to become furious to protect themselves. When they cannot become angry or are too weak, they will become hated. Hatred is extremely dangerous because when it breaks out, it will destroy humans, animals, and all things on a large scale. It can be said that hatred can destroy the whole world. Remember, the clinging mind is a solid foundation, the root that causes the mind to become angry and hateful. Anger is a state of mind that people can easily recognize and have plans to deal with when someone is angry. At that time, use your mind as a cool stream of compassion to neutralize it instead of becoming angry like them. Meanwhile, hatred is the most dangerous because it is hidden, so people cannot know. The root of the state of ignorant mind is ignorant wisdom because there is no knowledge of the two truths, or knowing but not believing. Don't think you can eliminate the state of the ignorant mind through meditation. It is not possible. The cause of the mind of ignorance is that the system of intellectual wave code fibers in the tuolin contains harmful and false information. Therefore, each person must receive accurate information to eliminate dangerous and incorrect information. That is the best solution to eradicate ignorance when one has attained enlightened wisdom.
During the lunch break, students with different illnesses shared with the teacher about symptoms such as body itching, bone pain, headaches, hallucinations, and loss of behavioral control when listening to lectures. They then became happy when the teacher explained that those manifestations were necessary to help them recover from their illness. Because toxic information is being released, toxins are being removed and eliminated from their souls and cells in their bodies.